When Jake, a humble mechanic, helped a stranded woman in the rain, he never expected his act of kindness to lead to a life-changing encounter. 2 days later, a helicopter landed in front of his house, bringing an offer he couldn't refuse. Hi everyone, welcome to Uncle Ben's Stories. Today, I'm excited to share a new story with you. In the quiet town of Meadow Grove, where life moved at a steady pace, there lived a man named Jake. Jake was a mechanic, known for his skill with engines and his quiet, unassuming nature. His small garage on the outskirts of town was a sanctuary for those in need of a reliable fix. One stormy evening, as the rain poured down in sheets, Jake was about to close up shop when he heard a desperate knock at his door. The knock was urgent, almost frantic. Jake, wiping the grease from his hands, opened the door to find a woman standing there, drenched and shivering. Her car had broken down on the side of the road, and she was stranded in the pouring rain. Without a second thought, Jake grabbed his toolbox and followed her back to her car. The rain pelted down, soaking them both as they trudged through the muddy path. The woman's car was an old sedan, its engine sputtering and coughing. Jake quickly assessed the situation and got to work. He knew that in this weather, every minute counted. The woman watched him, her eyes filled with gratitude and worry. "I don't know how to thank you," she said, her voice barely audible over the sound of the rain. "I was on my way to an important meeting, and I can't afford to be late." Jake just nodded, focusing on the task at hand. He worked methodically, his hands moving with practiced ease. After what felt like an eternity, the engine roared back to life. The woman let out a sigh of relief, her eyes shining with gratitude. "Thank you so much," she said, handing him a business card. "If there's ever anything I can do to repay you, please don't hesitate to reach out." Jake took the card, giving her a small smile. "Just drive carefully," he said, watching as she got back into her car and drove away. As Jake walked back to his garage, the rain still pouring down, he couldn't help but feel a sense of satisfaction. Helping others was something he did without expecting anything in return. It was just who he was. 2 days later, Jake was working on an old truck when he heard a strange noise outside. It was a loud, rhythmic sound, unlike anything he had heard before. He stepped out of his garage, wiping his hands on a rag, and looked up at the sky. To his astonishment, a helicopter was descending, its rotors kicking up a storm of dust and debris. Jake watched in disbelief as the helicopter landed in the field in front of his house. The door opened, and out stepped the woman he had helped 2 days earlier. She was dressed in an elegant suit, her hair neatly styled, a far cry from the drenched and desperate figure he had encountered in the rain. "Jake," she called out, walking towards him with a warm smile. "I hope you remember me." Jake nodded, still in shock. "Of course I do," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "But what are you doing here? And the helicopter?" The woman laughed, a sound that was both gentle and confident. "I told you I wanted to repay you," she said. "I'm Victoria Hartley, the CEO of Hartley Enterprises. I was on my way to a crucial meeting when my car broke down, and if it weren't for you, I would have missed it." Jake's mind raced, trying to process what was happening. Hartley Enterprises was a name he had heard before, a massive corporation known for its innovative technologies and philanthropic efforts. And here was the CEO, standing in front of his modest garage. "I don't understand," Jake said, his voice filled with confusion. "You didn't have to do this. I was just doing my job." Victoria shook her head. "It was more than that, Jake. You went out of your way to help a stranger in need, and that kindness didn't go unnoticed. I want to offer you a job, a chance to use your skills on a larger scale. Hartley Enterprises is always looking for talented and compassionate people like you." Jake stood there, speechless. The offer was beyond anything he had ever imagined. He had always been content with his small garage, helping the people of Meadow Grove. But the thought of working for a company like Hartley Enterprises, of making a bigger impact, was both exciting and daunting. "I don't know what to say," Jake finally managed to stammer. "This is all so sudden." Victoria smiled, her eyes filled with understanding. Take your time to think about it, she said. But know that this offer is genuine. You have a unique skill set and a heart for helping others. Those are qualities we value highly. As Victoria turned to leave, Jake called out to her. Wait, he said, his voice steadier now. I appreciate the offer, truly. But I have a life here, a community that relies on me. I can't just leave them. Victoria turned back to face him, her expression thoughtful. I understand, she said. But consider this. You could still help your community, but on a much larger scale. Hartley Enterprises has resources that could benefit Meadow Grove in ways you can't imagine. Think about the impact you could have. Jake nodded, his mind racing with possibilities. The thought of bringing positive change to his community, of using his skills to make a real difference, was tempting. But the decision was not an easy one. Over the next few days, Jake found himself torn between his loyalty to Meadow Grove and the exciting opportunity that lay before him. He talked to his friends and neighbors, seeking their advice. Some encouraged him to take the leap, while others reminded him of the importance of his work in the community. One evening, as Jake sat in his garage, surrounded by the familiar tools and the comforting hum of the engines, he made his decision. He picked up his phone and dialed the number on Victoria's business card. Victoria, he said when she answered, I've thought about your offer, and I have a proposal. I want to work for Hartley Enterprises, but I want to do it in a way that benefits Meadow Grove. I want to bring your resources here to help my community grow and thrive. There was a moment of silence on the other end of the line, and then Victoria's voice came through, filled with warmth and approval. Jake, that's a wonderful idea. I'm sure we can find a way to make it work. Let's set up a meeting to discuss the details. And so, Jake's life took a dramatic turn. He became a liaison between Hartley Enterprises and Meadow Grove, using his mechanical skills and his knowledge of the community to bring about positive change. The company invested in the town, building new infrastructure, creating jobs, and supporting local businesses. Jake's garage became a hub of activity, a place where people came not just for car repairs, but for advice and support. He worked tirelessly, balancing his new responsibilities with his commitment to the community. And as the town flourished, so did Jake. He found a new sense of purpose, a deeper understanding of the impact he could have on the world around him. The helicopter that had landed in front of his house that day had been more than just a surprising visit. It had been a catalyst for change, a symbol of the possibilities that lay ahead. One sunny afternoon, as Jake stood in his garage, looking out at the bustling town, he couldn't help but feel a sense of pride and accomplishment. The once quiet streets were now filled with life and energy. New businesses had opened, and the community had come together in ways he had never imagined. Just then, a familiar figure walked into the garage. It was Victoria, her eyes shining with pride as she looked around at the transformation. Jake, you've done an incredible job, she said, her voice filled with admiration. Meadow Grove is thriving, and it's all thanks to you. Jake smiled, his heart full. It's not just me, he said. It's the community, the people who believed in the vision. And it's you, for giving me this opportunity. Victoria nodded, her expression thoughtful. You know, Jake, sometimes the smallest acts of kindness can have the biggest impact. You helped me in the rain that day, and look at what's happened since. It's a reminder that we never know how our actions will ripple out into the world. Jake agreed, his mind drifting back to that stormy evening. He had helped a stranger in need, and in return, his life had been forever changed. It was a lesson in the power of kindness, a testament to the idea that one small act could create a chain reaction of positivity. As the days turned into weeks, and the weeks into months, Jake continued to work tirelessly for his community. He expanded his garage, hiring local mechanics and training them in the latest technologies. He organized community events, bringing people together to celebrate their shared success. And he never forgot the importance of helping others, of being there for those in need. One evening, as Jake sat in his garage, surrounded by the familiar hum of engines and the comforting presence of his tools, he reflected on the journey he had been on. From the moment he helped Victoria in the rain to the day the helicopter landed in front of his house, every step had been a lesson in compassion and community. He thought about the people he had helped, the lives he had touched, and the impact he had made. And he knew, deep in his heart, that this was just the beginning. There was so much more to do, so many more lives to change. As the sun set, casting a warm glow over the garage, Jake made a promise to himself. He would continue to use his skills and his resources to make a difference, to bring positive change to the world around him. And he would never forget the power of a simple act of kindness. And so, Jake's story became a beacon of hope and inspiration for the people of Meadow Grove. His journey was a testament to the idea that one person could make a difference, that one small act could create a ripple effect of positivity. And as the town continued to thrive, so did Jake, his heart full of purpose and his spirit unbroken. Love this story? Tap that like button and subscribe to Uncle Ben's Stories for more. Let us know how this story made you feel with a single word in the comments.